Hey race fans, this is a replay, but to be able to watch live and hear from the drivers and see the pre and post race reaction, download and subscribe to the Trans Am app. Available on both Android and iOS, this is the only place to watch the 2021 season of Trans Am live, with over 10 hours of coverage each and every weekend. Live timing, results and news, as well as pre and post interviews, as our global live stream takes you to the heart of the action. To subscribe, download the Trans Am app or scan the QR code to be part of the fastest growing series in America. Subscriptions for the race weekend are just $9.99 and $59.99 for a full season. So come and join us for the 2021 season on the Trans Am app, the only way to see the races live and get your muscle car media.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to be here at Lime Rock Park, but especially live with fans at the Trans Am Lime Rock Memorial Day Classic. Fans, let's hear it. I love it. I love it. And now, one of the things that we're doing here this weekend at Lime Rock Park, we've got Gabby with Griffin Health just on the other side for fans. One of the reasons that we're here is because we're getting vaccinated. We're getting back to normal. Gabby, tell us how we can get vaccinated here at Lime Rock Park.
All you have to do is go across over there. You fill out the the information sheet. We then get you set up. We have Pfizer and J&J today. Anybody who is willing to get vaccinated, come down and see us.
Nice, I love it. So right behind Winner's Circle, we expect to see everybody at Winner's Circle after this great race. Right behind Winner's Circle, Griffin Health, Gabby, thank you guys so much. Raise your hand if you were here with us in 2019 for the Trans Am race. Ma'am, I'm going to put you right on the spot. Who are you here to see and who do you want to win?
I'm not sure.
She's not sure.
We're here to see Simon Gregg come back with a championship.
Looks like you got somebody you want to talk to.
Oh, definitely Simon Gregg. Son of the great Peter Gregg. Let's go.
I love it. And now, so Tommy Dreesy, wherever you are, you're hearing your buddy Simon Gregg has been camping here all weekend, and now we've got Simon Gregg fans. Tommy Dreesy told us earlier, if he wins this year, he will be camping next year, but not camping like Simon Gregg. He's going to be in a Coleman pop-up tent. So he's going to be out there roughing it with everybody else. So let's hear about this. Why are you here, and are you so excited to be back at the racetrack?
I came here because my friend from Wisconsin traveled all the way here specifically to come to this track. He's a race fan, and I'm a race novice.
Nice. So Road America would probably be on everybody's bucket list. That's your home track, and you come out to what I think is the most beautiful track in North America.
It is. It is. I was going to Road America since 1971. I brought my Boy Scouts out there. We've been very active, and I wish I could see this without the rain.
Yeah. Yeah, well, then you just have to come back next year, come back without the rain. Now, let's talk. We've got some younger fans here, too. Trans Am has been racing at Lime Rock Park now for 7 decades. I'm sure you haven't seen all the races, but are you excited to be out here at Lime Rock Park?
Yeah.
Yeah. So who are you out here to see, sir?
We're just out here to see some good racing. Not anybody in particular, but this is his first time out, and he just wants to have some fun and see some fast cars.
Nice, and you are about to see some fast cars. So if you're wondering, these cars here, these are 850 plus horsepower behemoths. These are called TA cars. We're looking right here at the Kreider Racing David Penterick, a Memorial Day Trans Am car. Beautiful car, 850 horsepower. Very difficult to put that much power down in these rainy conditions. Now he's here with Eric Joyner this weekend, who is supposed to be right here in this blank spot. He's with the Good Boy Bob Coffees. So is that who you're rooting for this weekend?
Yes, that's very much so who I'm rooting for.
So why was he late to grid? Is it your fault?
No, we just got him out late, I guess. We were trying to get him out as fast as we could, but it's just like, well, we're going to make it through the pack, so we're starting in the back. It's good for us.
Nice. So who are you rooting for in this race?
I guess my team, so I don't really.
And that is Eric Joyner. They're standing right there. Here he comes, late to the party. So he was representing. This is your grid spot here.
Yeah.
Eric, what happened?
Empty. Apparently the car was a minute or two late showing up for the grid, so we are going to do it from the back.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, he's paddocked right over there. He has been giving away free Good Boy Bob coffee to everybody in the paddock. He's usually the paddock favorite. He's in that beautiful white Porsche tool car back there. He's supposed to be here. He was late. And how do you do in the rain? You have a little bit of an advantage in the rain over some of these big behemoths.
Yeah, as you know, so our car, we have some driver aids in our GT3 cars. So I have ABS and traction control, which will help me definitely in this, but I probably have a little more than half the horsepower.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting race.
Yeah, it's give and take. So here we are, Tony Perella, the man that owns Trans Am and SVRA. Let's hear it for Tony Perella for coming back to Lime Rock Park. Tony, Trans Am fan, I know you wish for better weather, but sometimes the rain makes for some very interesting races.
Well, what's unique about this is, do you go rain tires to start with, and halfway through, if it dries up, do you come in for the pit stop or you put the regulars on, or do you gut it out? And it looks like the weather's going to be one of those races. But how about these fans that got off the couch? It's borderline snowing. We're 2 days away from June, and they're as enthusiastic as you get. That's what makes coming to Lime Rock so incredibly special. The people that come here are truly hardcore race fans. They really are. It's special on Memorial Day.
We've been here for a couple days, and it's been so nice and so refreshing. We've had a rough year and a half in racing. So happy to be back at Lime Rock with all these fans, and then all these campers out here. That had to be exciting for you to see that we're back to kind of some kind of normalcy in racing.
Yeah, it's almost like this is our coming out party, if you will, to have just even in spite of the weather and it's tough conditions, it feels like a race weekend, seeing all the campers. It looks like Woodstock. You know, it is packed up on the upper level. This is such a beautiful place to come. And what's neat is look at all the families and people with their kids and strollers. That's what, to me, this is where you're supposed to be. You know, there's a couple other big races going on in this country this weekend, but I don't think this takes a back seat to it at all from a grassroots standpoint. This is a special place to be on Memorial Weekend.
Nice. I love it, Tony Perella. We're going to talk to the man right here in the Van Halen mask. Tell us about your experience at Lime Rock, and who are you rooting for?
Well, the name that stuck with me the most was from 2019, which is Paul Fix. And I would say the thing that brings me here is the fact that it's like my second home. The first time I came here was probably if I was 5, if not younger. Been here every summer going to any event, and it just feels great to be back. Came here all the way from Philadelphia, 4-hour drive up, and I just wouldn't miss it for anything. Doesn't matter the weather as long as I'm here.
Nice. I love it. And there's the man right there, Paul Fix. We haven't seen you since 2019. You were always in the running for the championships, battling with Tommy and Amy, but we're so glad to see you back in that black vet.
Yeah, Lime Rock is my favorite. The fans are fantastic here. I've won here multiple times, and cross our fingers, let's do it again.
Nice. I love it. And you know what? If you've been following along on the Trans Am app, you hear us talking about great fans at different venues, but I do have to say, I'm going to be totally unpolitical and biased here. These are the best fans that Trans Am sees in a season right now. Lime Rock Park, we love it. Tommy Dreesy talking about the fans, that promise you made. If you win here, next year you're going to be up there on the hill camping in a tent. Let's hear about that.
If I win this race, I will camp. Can I go back at 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that?
No.
I'll spend the night.
We said a Coleman tent.
I'll spend, as long as it's got that bottom sealer thing.
All right.
I'll spend the night.
Nice. And, you know, it's going to be tough for him to afford a nice tent because he can't even afford to fix his sunglasses. Still, since Sebring, he's got the zip-tied sunglasses. So we're going to talk to David Penterick. David, Memorial Day Classic, we spoke to you earlier. Tell us about this beautiful red, white, and blue livery Ford Mustang racing the Memorial Day Classic.
It's a tribute to America, the greatest country in the world. And we got to remember what Memorial Day is all about. It's not about racing. It's not about parties or barbecues. It's about remembering those people who put their lives on the line and lost it so we could do these things. We could play golf, we could barbecue, we could race.
Nice. I love it. David Penterick out there in the number 57 Ford Mustang. I hope this huge crowd right here starts picking out who they want to root for. I'm going to kind of do a grid walk now, Tony, if you don't mind. And let's start down here because we've got a local man down here racing in SGT. So I'm going to kind of walk through so we can go kind of slow. The racing for the Peter Gregg Foundation, Simon Gregg. Amy Ruman, who's had 2 third places here at Lime Rock Park. Her dad has raced here for years. That's Bob right here. She's starting out. She says she loves coming to Lime Rock, the best fans in the world, and we have to agree. Ken Twaits raced with us in XGT last year in an Audi R8, and I think this might be the first race in his TA car that he's wishing to be back out there in that Audi, but it's sporting the American flag up on top, Franklin Road apparel. Then we've got Justin Oakes, the first SGT car in line right here. Justin had a really good showing with us last year at COTA, rode Atlanta at Laguna Seca. He just had a baby, so he's dealing with that. He's got a lot going on in our SGT class. Then we have Michael Phillips right here from New Salem, New York, but who I wanted to really get to right here, Jason Berkeley, the number 67 from just down the road, considers Lime Rock his home. Jason, I'm going to shove the mic into your helmet. Tell us what an honor it is to have you back here, an SGT champion, back at your home track with Trans Am at Lime Rock Park.
It's great to be back. It's been a rough year, I think, for everyone, and to be back here racing with Trans Am at Lime Rock at our home track is it's an honor. It's a lot of fun. Glad to see spectators out in spite of the weather, but I think we're going to put on a great show for them.
Nice. Did you hear that, fans? He said he's going to put on a great show for you. So I'm going to walk back there. We've got DeFilippo. There's Eric Joyner there. Eric, give us a wave, having to start at the back for being late. Carrie hit here in the Cadillac. And now we're going to walk through, make our way back to the color guard. We've got some great things happening here at Lime Rock Park for the Memorial Day Classic. So happy to be back. It is so refreshing to see so many fans, to pull into such a beautiful racetrack and see all the campers, all the enthusiasm. It is just so much fun to watch.
Vocation right now.
All right, so now I'm going to be walking back. I'm going to come across the fence for the invocation, ladies and gentlemen, from the beautiful Trinity of Lime Rock Episcopal Church. Reverend Heidi Truax. Reverend Heidi Truax. Heidi, if you don't mind, can you stand just right here because of the flag? And we will bow our heads for our invocation.
Let us pray. God of the heat of summer and God of the rain of springtime, we humans can design and drive beautiful works of engineering, but we cannot control the weather. But we stay grateful no matter what. And we give thanks to our Creator for all the gifts we've received. This weekend, remembering those who have valiantly fought in wars past and present, we are grateful for the freedom we enjoy and for those who gave themselves heart and soul to win our freedom for us. I ask God's blessing today on all our racers, pit crews, EMTs, staff of the Lime Rock Park, and also the corner workers who have to put up with a lot on a day like this. We also give thanks for the Civil Air Patrol who was volunteering to park our cars and help us this weekend. And God bless us, the fans of the sport, who have shown up today. God bless us all. Amen.
Amen. It sounds like the Reverend Heidi Truax is quite the motorsports fan. We love that. And you're being this close to Lime Rock Park, that's got to be what's happening here. All right, so now we're going to the Casey sisters. I can't put it in there, unfortunately, because I'm tethered to it. The Casey sisters. Come on in here. Well, let's put your back to here, if you don't mind, and I'll hold the microphone. 5-part harmony here.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the
Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, that was unbelievable. The Casey sisters, Scott Borchetta. I hope you were listening to that. 5-part harmonies. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce Maria Horn from the House of Representatives, right? Connecticut House of Representatives, to give the most famous words for the Memorial Day Classic in racing.
Drivers, start your engines.
Nice. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it from Maria Horn as the beautiful music starts up. Good stuff for this Lime Rock Memorial Day Classic. And Jonathan, I'm going to give it back over to you.
That was fantastic, Ben. Appreciate it. Absolutely superb, and a fantastic rendition of the national anthem and a fantastic preamble to this race. Who said the fans wouldn't show at Lime Rock if it was raining? Absolutely not. It's Memorial Day weekend. It's Lime Rock as it should be. And alongside me, a man who was out there splashing around in the wet, giving us a good idea as to what is about to come. Alongside me, again, is Adam Andretti. Delighted to have you here, Adam. And what's it like out there?
Well, Jonathan, thank you. I'm thrilled to be here, as always. And it's a challenge, right? This is Lime Rock in the wet. Us drivers, we've always affectionately called this place Slime Rock because it is a slippery place. But I'll be honest with you, out there in heavy rain earlier in the TA2 practice session in Doug Peterson's 3dimensional.com Ford Mustang, it was a lot of grip. I was actually quite surprised with how much grip there was out there. So I went down and talked to a couple of the drivers in this race, you know, that I know quite well, and let them know what I was feeling out there. But I think we're in for a great race. There's going to be a lot of action, and this track is going to lend to that for sure.
Now, people know you as a TA driver. You were third at Sebring earlier this season, but you're actually out in a TA2 car, Doug Peterson's car, because he got stuck in Bora Bora and he's hoping to be here. But do you reckon you might be able to pull it off?
Yeah, who knows? I mean, you know, obviously hope Doug gets here so he can run, you know, his own race car. I'm just, you know, happy to fill in for now and get the thing sorted out. So when he is here, it's ready to go. But Doug knows that if for whatever reason, if he needs me, I'm ready to step up to the challenge. And I love this team. That Peterson Racing team is just a top-notch group of people to go work with.
And, of course, Rafa Matos, who won at Laguna Seca, will be in the other of the cars, the 88. I love this pace car out front, the all-green. It's an XF1 car, pace car. Look, it's got the F1 logo on the side. I love it, yeah.
That's brilliant.
So, and then we got the Cadillac, and then following that, of course, is Ernie Francis Jr., who took pole on 7 cylinders. We were laughing last night because we were like, well, that's like traction control. He didn't need all 8 cylinders.
Exactly. You know, we just talked down there, and same thing. This is not a horsepower track. Well, the first TA race I ran here was with ECC Motorsports in a Corvette, and we ran the 310 cubic inch engine because we thought we didn't need an engine here. And I turned the fastest lap of the race in that year because of that. And I remember Bob Rubin saying, boy, that's the small engine. So, you know, you don't need huge horsepower here, especially in the wet. So I honestly asked Ernie why they fixed it.
Well, let's just set the scene here. At the moment, Ernie Francis Jr. in his Future Star Racing Ford Mustang, the man you see in pole, as we go on board with Chris Dyson, they are a point apart from each other. 79 points to Ernie Francis Jr., Chris Dyson on 78 points, and Tommy Dreesy on 73 points. So there's a lot up for grabs, even though it's only the 4th round of the championship. Now, as we heard, Ernie Francis Jr. got the pole, but there's been a bit of shenanigans going on. Hamid Al-Masood couldn't make it this weekend, so talk about bringing in a ringer. They brought in Andy Lally, former IMSA, I say former, current IMSA and current Xfinity driver, and one of the most experienced drivers in North America and one of the most accomplished. I saw him race last weekend at COTA in the Xfinity, where he picked up a bunch of blisters for his work, but he's out there, and he had a rare off yesterday in qualifying. And of course, he and Chris Dyson know each other, have raced with each other for over 20 years. He said it's the first time he's dented one of Dyson's cars.
Well, that's a pretty good record, and not a surprise either, right? Andy Lally is he's definitely a unique talent. He is so strong and behind the wheel, and He's a guy that all these people are worried about for sure because of his talent and skill level. So he's definitely someone good for Chris's championship, I think. I think he can help if needs be steal some points. So here we go.
Pace cars coming in, and that means we're going to go that single file start, and away goes Ernie Francis Jr. Dyson goes to the outside at Big Ben, the first corner here. Big rooster tails here. Paul Fick's got to go way well. Lally in third place, side-by-side racing. Dyson round the outside of the Big Ben. He'll have the inside turn as they complete it, and sure enough he does. Oh no! Francis gets spun round. The championship leader has spun out of contention with an hour and 5 minutes left on the race, and we did not expect that.
I do believe he caught the puddle at the apex there at the right at Big Bend, and you know, they were going side by side where Dyson traditionally in the wet would have better traction on the outside actually, so that was a good strategic move on his part. And Ernie, I think, just got a little bit of that puddle, and that's what pushed him around.
Well, this is exactly what Team Dyson wanted, because they brought Andy Lally in to protect or to help Chris Dyson here at his home track. He only lives down the road away, and now he's got Andy Lally protecting that lead for him, and hopefully if they can keep it this way, then potentially Dyson could take the lead of the championship. But that was not the start they wanted at all. Conditions not easy, as you can see, as they head down the main straight again. Ben Sissel joins us now. Can you believe it?
I can't, and I've never seen Ernie do anything like that, especially lap one, turn one, basically, in a contest where the points are so close. And right now, things are really working out for Dyson, just like they did in 2019.
This is a long race, you know. I want to remember we got a lot of time left out here, and you know, Ernie is probably going to take some advantage of some full course cautions. I hate to say it, but in these conditions, it will reap to that. And we've seen it in TA2 earlier, in the year where Thomas Merrill came from an early spin and came back through the field. You could already see Ernie already making way through.
So Ernie currently ahead of Amy Ruman in 8th position. He's got Ken Thwaites in front of him, and you can see he is flying. He's already passed Simon Gregg and Ken Thwaites. So Ernie Francis Jr. absolutely with a hurry up in these wet conditions, but that's why he's a 7-time champion. It won't be long before he's at the front again.
Yeah,
Dyson leads from Lally.
All the time. You never count Ernie Francis out. You know, he can always make something out of something great. So keep an eye out on him. I'm so excited to be back here for this Memorial Day Lime Rock Classic as Ernie comes in under David Pinterick into Big Bend.
Yeah, that was a tight move. Again, he's down there by those apex puddles, so I hope he learned his lesson the first time. I think he did from that. But yeah, this is just the racing we were expected to see, and it is going to be that beautiful Memorial Day Classic like we love. And again, don't ever want to forget why we have Memorial Day, and all those out there, we love you and we appreciate you and all the sacrifices that have been made.
Watching the battle between Justin Oakes and Jason Berkeley. That is in the SGT class. It's being led at the moment by Michael Phillips. Just ahead on the road, XGT, led by Eric Joyner in that beautifully prepared 991 Porsche. But we're watching the battle for SGT. A few new names coming in. Jason Berkeley, one of them this weekend. Philip DePipo also raced at Sebring, but he's coming in. There's that XGT Porsche I mentioned. As we take a look at the number 19 of Kerry Hitt, currently in the top 10. Kerry coming down the hill, down towards the final corner again. And things changing quickly. Ernie Francis Jr. up to 5th place already. He's right behind Tommy Dreesy. Tommy Dreesy, the winner last time at Laguna Seca. Adam, as we look at these conditions, it is kind of improving a little bit. How bad is vision?
The vision is the biggest thing, right? I'll do about anything in the world that you want me to do. I just don't want to do it blind. And so I think, you know, that's the biggest deal out here. The street cars, like the GT cars, the Porsche, and those Corvettes, they're probably not going to experience the problems like the real pure race cars, like a TA car, TA2 car, have a possibility of experiencing. But I think these teams, I actually know a lot of these teams, have definitely done their homework, been around a long time, and Chris Dyson is absolutely flying. He is out there a second or two faster than anybody else, and here's one of the great example right here with Eric Joyner in that beautiful XGT Porsche 911 GT3 car. So again, up the hill, that's probably the sketchiest part. You can see Eric right there really chasing the car around, and the earlier shots of Kerry Hitt, he definitely has his hands full. He is in a squirmy little Cadillac CTSV that he has.
Yeah, we saw Eric Joyner, the man you're looking at now, out in qualifying yesterday, and it was similar conditions, so he had about a half-hour run pretty much on his own, because no competition, and he basically got plenty of laps in. So he's probably more confident than most of the other drivers, and he's got some clean air. The wipers are working well, and as you say, these GT3 cars have got all the gizmos, as Ken Thwaites was telling Ben Sissel earlier. It really does make a big difference for the GT cars, whereas the big monsters, the behemoths of TA, do not have that. So they're just putting down sheer horsepower in these very wet conditions. Back to the racing, and Ernie Francis Jr. is past Tommy Dreese for 4th place under the hill as they come back onto the main straight again. On board with Tommy Dreese. His wiper's not on at the moment. Interesting.
Ernie's on a mission, as we would expect, right? He is definitely, he's cranking out the lap times. You know, he's in the minute ones, which is really, it was the fastest car out there last lap, you know, by almost a second. So absolutely no joke here. Ernie's got the grip between his teeth, and he's going to come after these front runners. You can look at that four-wheel slide he had going.
See that,
beautiful, beautiful driving right there.
Ernie Francis Jr., part of the Future Racing Stars this year, and he'll also be racing in the SRT Championship coming up on CBS in June. Looking forward to seeing him in action with some superstars like Mark Webber, Willie T. Ribbs, and you name it. They're all there racing similar cars to these, but all under the tutelage of Ray Everingham and Tony Stewart. And there's the Lucas Slick Miss car of Tommy Dreese, winner last time out, and very much in contention for the overall championship in the Lucas Oil Chevrolet Camaro this year. 73 points, and third in the championship, just 5 behind Chris Dyson.
There's not a more appropriate sponsor for our day today than the Lucas Oil Slick Mist.
Yeah. There isn't. Talking of mist, explain to me, because we've got the man of the moment, and I know he's got his notes out, and he's looking worried, but he shouldn't be. Tell us how each of them are doing different ways of dispersing the rain.
Yeah, I went and talked to all the drivers and crews. So, Ernie, they think that first they had to pull their engine, and were working late last night, and they had to pull the head off the engine, take the engine out. So they were more worried about that. But Dreese and Burton Racing with Simon Gregg, they had a lot of problems with fogging. So they've got 3 little fans going up from their oil cooler that will generate heat to go up. You can see Dyson right there using some kind of product on the windshield. Barely having to use his windshield wipers because he's out front. But they've got it figured out, it looks like, for visibility. And Lolly was really struggling with that yesterday. And then Ken Thwaites, they actually bought 3 RC airplane jet engines. And they're blowing those up into his windshield. And hopefully that works as we look at our leader, Chris Dyson. Obviously, he's got the right combination today.
You got to love Gary Seelick, who works on, who's the chief, well, he's the team manager over there for Kenny Thwaites, and you got to love his ingenuity to come up with that kind of setup. But and the Seelick name is legendary here in Trans Am Racing, so not a surprise. But yeah, you said it. When we were on board with Chris Dyson, I mean, that was great visibility. It was like there was no rain, and I got to tell you, when you only have the wiper on the one side, you got to remember, these are all right-hand turns here at Lime Rock, except for the one left-hander. So you're trying to look through a windshield that is usually all gummed up when but Chris's is perfect. So no doubt that he is getting those 59-second laps out of this thing, and it's because his visibility is absolutely perfect.
Well, that's the incredible thing. He's going faster than qualifying at the moment. Maybe the conditions actually better, but he is flying. And for those who don't know, this is Chris Dyson's home track. He grew up watching his father race here. He raced here for many, many years and continues to do so. Last time out in 2009, he won the race, and now he's brought this man, number 21, Andy Lally, in, and he's right behind him, and the interval 9.7 seconds, but Andy doing his job of keeping it steady. Having had that prang yesterday, it really only was a dent to the front left of the car, no real major damage, but Andy Lally in the Xfinity race last weekend at COTA, so he knows the conditions. I think he qualified top 10 in Xfinity and dealt with the conditions brilliantly, but a different track, a different weekend.
Absolutely, and you know, Andy's doing exactly what we'd expect a professional of his stature to be able to do, and that's go out there and run the laps that he's running, super consistent, really fast. He's keeping the championship challenger of Ernie Francis Jr. behind him. That's when the battle is really going to get heated, because Ernie, like I said, he's got the grit, he's coming, and right now Andy's a little bit quicker than Ernie, so Ernie might be stalled out here in P3, but I'll tell you, if we ever have a restart, it's going to be looking dicey.
Yeah, no question about it. Vida Tequila Ford Mustang that Andy Lally is in. I'm sure that Masood is watching from London, and I know that he's got some new fans from the United Arab Emirates, which is where Masood's family is from, and they watch us diligently. So a big shout out to Masood, who unfortunately couldn't be here, but he put his car in the great hands of Andy Lally, and now Andy's going to try to make it very wide for that man right behind him in the Future Star Racing Wings and Wheels car of Ernie Francis Jr.
And Ernie Francis Jr., we're going to keep an eye on that gap, which was, you just saw on the graphic, was 5 seconds a moment ago. There is Ernie Francis Jr., Andy Lally just popping through there. And Andy Lally will probably stay on the pace until Ernie starts to put him under pressure, because the one thing that Lally doesn't want, and nor does Dyson, of course, is for Ernie to come through and win this race.
Exactly right. And, you know, that's why you put someone in of Andy's talent, is because this is what you need. You know, when you're a two-car operation like Chris Dyson has, this is your best shot to help secure you some championship points. So it's all fair love and war, and this is a beautiful thing to watch, and it's going to turn out for great racing for us fans to take a look at.
What are you seeing in the conditions, Adam?
I'm seeing the track getting better and better. Every lap you can see, even as Ernie came through the left-hander there's less standing water. You know, these are fire-breathing monsters that are moving a lot of water with those Pirelli tires. And I even said it to the Peterson Racing team, you know, about our second session this afternoon. Says, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a little bit of a dry line. You know, it's hard here because there's no sun. But, you know, with these cars out there running, it's 100 miles. It could get a little bit drier out there, especially spread out as they are.
So poor conditions, mixed class racing on a track that I would consider to be the toughest track that we run our whole season for passing. And so they've really got to be, the slower cars like an SGT need to be watching their mirrors, and then our TA drivers need to pick good places to pass. Where do you think is the best place to pass at Lime Rock?
Oh, I mean, getting down the front straightaway into you know, Big Bend is definitely a good place. Here in the wet, though, you could catch people off guard, finding that grip on the outside and just, you know, rail them on the outside. And that's another challenge, too. Their windshields may be clear, but mirrors may not be. So good point. The mirrors, if they're fogged up, that makes it even more of a challenge for that slower cars. They really have to pay attention to those blue flags. It's going to be imperative so that we don't have an issue out there. Simon Gregg, the Peter Gregg Foundation, Camaro.
Well, here's my question answered. If you were out there, Adam, and you're watching these conditions, if and when would you come in, or would you wait for a caution to use it?
You know, the track would have to dry out a lot more than what we're seeing now before you would even dare to go to slick tires. Pirelli builds such a good rain tire that even as the track dries out, that I experienced at Road Atlanta, you still had a good tire. Look at this. This is Ernie right up on Andy Lally. All that was playing traffic. Lally got, to your point, Jonathan, traffic's tough here, and Andy got stuck behind some traffic there of Amy Ruben and Eric Joyner, and this has caused it.
Look at that, a 58.9 last time out from Ernie Francis Jr. Incredible laps he's putting in these conditions. They're passing XGT's Eric Joyner right now. The traffic is part of the situation for both of them. Lally's going to try to use it. They're coming up on Amy Ruman now, and this is a real battle before the podium now, and Lally will not like to be passed by this 23-year-old right now.
Absolutely not, and you can see Ernie's going to try and time this run. I bet after the downhill, when they come down here to Big Bend, he's going to look for that run out of that downhill, and I would look for Ernie to pop down here to turn 1, Big Bend.
Okay, here we are, Big Bend, last corner. Down the hill they come and onto the main straight. Down the San Posey straight, flat out. 850 brake horsepower, flat out in the wet. But Andy Lally has responded well. Sparks flying off the Levita car. And he's trying to defend that position now. Chris Dyson up the road, some 10 seconds. But once Ernie gets past, if Ernie gets past, he'll then go in pursuit of his championship contender. Lally just here for the weekend and just trying to help Chris Dyson.
Very similar cars. I think Andy Lally actually got his racing license at Lime Rock longer ago than Ernie Francis was alive. But the top 3 cars are all Dyson chassis, all set up very similarly. So let's see what Ernie Francis can do.
Well, he's certainly under pressure
come
now.
up that uphill, doesn't he? I mean, he got a really good run. And I tell you, Andy has turned the wick up. You can see that here. Yep. I mean, Andy is not going to sit there and roll over and just let the 7-time champ by. This is going to be a battle right there to the bitter end.
Well, he's a fighter. A real true fighter.
He's a true fighter.
Yeah, Lally last time was 3/10 quicker, and you can see the gap between them has just gone up a little bit as they come down across the San Posey straight again and into Big Bend. And this is a great battle. Dyson is really comfortable. He's out front by over 10.5 seconds almost. And but it's pensive times as they watch the timing as we do the same. The conditions improving slightly from the start of the race as we watch the breathless team, that of Ernie Francis Jr., the family team that is from Florida. And they were struggling on 7 cylinders last night, but he is firing on all of them right now as he goes in pursuit of Lally.
Yeah, we're seeing less and less spray, too, even down the no-name straight here. Much less spray, and you come up the uphill here. And lots of grip, actually, I'm seeing.
Well, let me ask you this. How well, once you start to get a warm and drying line, this is an hour race, how well do those wets last?
You know, they'll start to chew up, you know, around this little place because there's not anywhere that, I mean, you'll go searching for water just to cool them down if it comes down to that. You know, the dry laps, you know, a true dry condition around here was about, you know, 9 seconds faster than what they're running now. So you would have to really find a serious advantage of going to the slick tires, and that isn't coming for a while.
And I don't think any team could afford to do that unless there's a full course caution, because I don't think you can change 4 tires in a lap.
You might be right, yeah.
That's a good point.
That's a really good point.
It's a very good point.
That's a really good point, Ben.
Yeah, I was going to say, is it harder as a driver when it is a short lap of 59 seconds? Because you're constantly on it, aren't you?
Yeah, you know, I love it because no driver's perfect, and you always make mistakes. Any driver does on any given lap, and at Lime Rock you get to do it over much quicker than like at Coda where it's a 2-minute lap. So, you know, I love it here. It's fun. You know, it's actually where my Uncle Mario got his very first road course win.
Is it really?
Was here at Lime Rock in 1962 in a midget, and he beat Mark Donahue to the line.
That is great.
Yeah, so it was, you know, it's a story I didn't even know, and he told me right when he found out I was coming to Lime Rock this weekend. So,
well, the Andrettis will be represented, of course, tomorrow at the big one, down the road a little at Indianapolis in the 500. Marco racing again, and Michael's team in front, and I'm sure, is Mario doing the 2-seater this weekend?
Mario is doing the 2-seater.
Good man.
Yeah, and he'll give 33 rides on Memorial Day to 33 lucky recipients that are going to get to go over.
I wouldn't want to be the 33rd. He might be a little tired.
They get to do over 200 miles an hour with my Uncle Mario behind the wheel, which is a pretty special thing to be able to do.
That would be awesome. Absolutely. Well, things settling down now. Chris Dyson with a 10.5-second lead. We're watching these gaps. There's Ken Thwaites. There's Simon Gregg. And racing for the Peter Gregg Foundation. It was great to hear his fans here and you getting a chance to talk to them. They really do know their drivers here, don't they?
Yeah, you know, Adam, I don't know if you remember this. We were having breakfast one time at the ranch, and I was talking about all the great fans at all the different tracks, and you said, just wait till you go to Lime Rock. You and Tabitha both said these are the best fans, and I think you're right. I love the fans here, and Simon Gregg's up there on the hill camping with them, so of course we're going to have a lot of Simon Gregg fans.
I've been making my friends over there too. I'm camping not far from Simon. I'm in a more low rent district than Simon, but we're not far from each other.
You're not in the gated community of camping?
Not in the gated community of the glamping.
Yeah.
Right?
You're not glamping.
No.
Well, these guys aren't glamping right now as we're on board with Eric Joyner in the XGT class, and you can see how much grip that number 10 Porsche is getting as he comes through turns 2 and turns 3. The conditions have improved, but not dramatically to the point where, like you say, you come in and change tires.
No. And what I saw from Eric's in-car there was that maybe he have a little bit too much front brake. He was starting to lock the front brake, so I would have dialed a little bit of rear brake into that, and that helps you in these wet conditions. You know, you try to get away with as much rear brake as you can get away with, so you don't lock the fronts and slide, you know, into one of these walls or slide off track.
One person we haven't mentioned in 4th place, Paul Fix at the moment, the only man who's got consecutive 3 in a row wins here at Lime Rock, 13, 14, and 15. So he's a bit of a track expert too.
Yeah, Paul Fix, you know, it's funny. I just saw him Sunday at Amelia Island at Concours d'Elegance, and I was like, I hope to get to see you at the track again soon. Little did I know it was going to be less than a week later, and he's here at Lime Rock. It came together last minute with him and Tony Ave Motorsports, and you know, that's always been a magic combination with those two. As you mentioned, those are 3 race wins in a row here at Lime Rock, and he works extremely well with that team. I know that they love working with Paul, and Paul's just a pleasure, right? Always has a big smile on his face, and the car coach, Lauren, his wife, is always up for some good knowledge as well.
We're watching Eric Joyner as he swishes his way through the wet here at Lime Rock to lead XGT. Then there are all sorts of battles going on in SGT too at the moment. In SGT, it's Michael Phillips who leads Justin Oakes and Jason Berkeley. In GT, Philip DePipo is still going strong. There's Michael Phillips in that number 97. Haven't really got a chance to talk about him. I tried to learn a little bit about Michael Phillips. There's not much out there.
He's a great driver. He's racing with Adrian Lostowski and Doug Winston in the Fast Auto group from New York. Yep. Yeah, he's a pretty quiet individual who lets his driving do the talking, because for him to be out front of Justin Oaks right now is very impressive, especially beating the 2014 SGT champion Jason Berkeley at his home track as we speak in that yellow Corvette.
Yeah, this is an impressive drive for sure. I know those Corvettes are challenging in the wet. I'm not going to lie. Those are a much more challenging car than, let's say, a Porsche to drive in the wet. So really impressed with the tidiness of the driving and how clean it's been. So really, really hats off to that. Great performance.
Tommy Dreese just going past Justin Oaks there. Dreese upping his pace. He's now gone into the 59s. Finally, 59.5. So conditions definitely improving. Here's Justin Oaks coming over the hill. Second place at the moment in SGT. His best time so far a 1:10.9, also in a Corvette. Dreese flying right now and trying to stay up on the pace. He'll be looking for some sort of caution if he can. 13th overall.
Woo. Justin Oaks getting a little squirrely going into Big Bend.
Like I said, those Corvettes, they're a handful. So to see, Michael so tidy out there the way he was, it's no joke. So that's really good driving.
Well, wherever you're tuning in on the app, we welcome you around the world to our coverage from Lime Rock Park Memorial Weekend. We've got a full weekend of racing, both SVRA and Trans Am. This is our first feature race of the Saturday. We take Sunday off, and then we'll be back Memorial Day. That's Monday. So tune in for that when we'll have our TA2. We might even see Adam Andretti out there.
You might even. I tell you, that gap is less than a half a second between Ernie and Andy again. So that battle's getting ready to heat back up as this track keeps coming to us. There's no rain right now. And as long as there's no rain coming, that track is getting drier and faster every lap. So it's going to be up to the driver that finds that grip the first. It's going to actually start making some real headway here.
Yeah, the weathermen were saying that it was going to stop at about 1:30, and they're right on time at the moment because only 10 minutes late. And you can see now Eric Joyner now sort of swerving from side to side. And the reason he's doing that, he's just trying to keep the temperature and keep the wet weather tires cool, right?
Exactly. He's looking for moisture. I tell you, Paul Fix just turned the fastest lap of the race at a 58.7.
Wow.
So we just got done talking about that. Paul Fix at P4. I tell you, if these two start dicing up, they won't be able to look too far before they would see a Paul Fix close that gap.
I got a couple of trivias for you. We've had some big stars here, of course, of the racing world, but also some crossovers too. Back in the early 80s in a Datsun, Paul Newman got the fastest lap here for Trans Am, and guess who was in the first ever 1967 Trans Am race here at Lime Rock? Of all people, Walter Cronkite.
Really?
Yep.
I had no idea.
Go figure.
I didn't know that. So he was in it, or he was doing
he was
video
racing
about it?
No, he was racing.
I saw him do a documentary about racing in Lime Rock Park years ago. That's awesome. And I talked to Kerry Hitt today. Kerry Hitt's first time here at Lime Rock. He followed around this Datsun 510, went to talk to him later on, introduced himself as Kerry Hitt, and he said, well, I'm Paul Newman. And he didn't recognize him as Paul Newman, the actor. He wanted to talk to him about the racing driving that he was doing. He loved his line, and they become fast friends.
That's cool.
Paul was a wonderful man, just a truly unique person, and was a big part of our family, obviously, with Newman Haas Racing. And look at Ernie. Ernie going for P2
side by side. This is great racing, but Lally's got the line, surely into Big Bend.
Lally, so savvy there. You saw how he kept Ernie out. He kept Ernie out and wouldn't let Ernie turn in. If he would have turned in at his normal line, Andy, that would have given Ernie momentum, and Ernie would have probably made the pass successful. So, Andy, it just shows you how really sharp and on top of his racecraft Andy Lally is.
Lally's got to be careful here. They're coming up on traffic. They're trying to deal with it as quickly as they can. Out of 4.
Job. That was really clean. They're going to come down no name straight here. Ernie is. See those puddles. You got to watch that, Ernie, buddy. You got to really watch that. He's taking a peek, but this is not the place to go at the uphill. Not really the place that you want to try and dive your nose in on somebody.
Well, it looks as though he's winding himself up for a move at turn 1 again, but that's where Lally went off in qualifying, and the reason he went off is his windshield's fogged up, and he couldn't see his braking point. And so he just kind of thought about it and tried to tiptoe through it, but he couldn't make it. Right, Adam, take it away.
So Ernie did not get his run that he wanted down the downhill. He got a little squirrely, and he had to lift off the throttle, so that didn't give him the run. Really good under the brakes he is, though. Wow, I mean, he just really hammered down on the brakes. He's getting good grip on the front. So I tell you what, the Breathless team, they're on top of it with the rain tires. You know, they make sure that they run scuffs. He was saying, I got the oldest rain tires on the grid right now, I promise you. So I'm telling you, the scuffed rain tires from Pirelli are a really good magic tool out there, and he'll probably get mad at me for releasing that secret, but it's the honest to goodness truth. It's really a good way to go and scuff those things in.
Tony Barella sharing his timing board with
Roger, with Kerry Hitt's racing team. I'm sure Roger actually used to work for Tony with SVRA, but right now I'm thinking Ernie Francis Jr. in that Mustang is looking at that Mustang in front of him thinking, can my car get that wide?
Right, yeah, I mean, I've been behind Ernie, and Ernie's got no problem making a race car wide, so Ernie did a really good job of timing himself there, not being right on the bumper. So that
look what's in front of him, though. If he doesn't get past soon, he's going to be in big traffic. And Lally doing a great job of making that Tequila's car a one shot to get past, quite literally. And this is great racing between them. And in fact, they've upped their pace because now the gap to Chris Dyson, because he's had to deal with the traffic too, has gone down to 7.4 seconds. So as these two fight, they're actually getting closer to Dyson.
And I tell you, Ernie also, I know that in the back of his mind, he's thinking championship points, and this is a teammate that is here to take some from me. So Ernie's going to have that in the back of his mind. So I don't think you're going to see him take any extra special chances to get around Andy Lally. He's going to need Andy Lally, I think, to make a little bit of a mistake.
See, look, there's
traffic.
4 cars in front of them. Now it's going to get interesting. Adam, how would you deal with this if you were Lally?
This is timing. You're going to want to time this to where they're not holding you up in a place. So you're going to want to maybe back Ernie up a little bit in an area that he really can't pass because this place doesn't lend to it, and then make your move on these cats up ahead of you. Now they're in their own battle, so they're not even going to know you're coming.
This is not what he wants at all.
No, they're not seeing the move over flags or anything, right? This is just all pure battle. So this is going to be dicey here, to say the least. And I don't know, honestly, how you would plan for that, honestly. This is really nothing that you can plan for there.
Well, first up is Simon Gregg, right in front of them in the 59 or SG, whichever you prefer. And Ernie's thinking the same thing as you just described, because he's thinking, well, this could be my chance too. Amy Ruman's in that group. Paul Fix is in that group. Panteric is in that group. Here he comes. Ernie's got him.
Yeah, Simon played the pick, and Ernie got underneath, and but this could come right back to Andy real quick.
Right, yeah, exactly.
The pick could work against him the next time.
So they got past Simon Gregg, but Lally tucks himself in behind Ernie Francis Jr. as they come under the hill, under the bridge, down the hill again. Great racing here. TA side by side, wheel to wheel, puddles and all.
Look at the run.
Back comes Lally.
Here goes Lally. So Ernie again on the curbs where the water is and wasn't able to get the power down. So, if I was on the radio to Ernie, that's what would be tough.
Ernie could have a problem. He's suddenly slowed. Ernie's slowed.
You're right. He's way off pace.
I think he popped his tire on that curbing.
Ernie Francis, our championship leader, could be out of Lime Rock Memorial Weekend. We look back now to our camera position. There's Tommy Dreesy, and he has disappeared.
Car off, driver's left, turn one.
Turn one.
Wow, what a shame. That was really going to be a battle for the ages, and what a big break for Chris. Now Chris, up front, just needs to make his laps and not do anything crazy out there. Just make these clean laps. I'm sure his team's talking to him as he's going through lap traffic.
Well, whatever Dyson's got on that windshield, I want some.
Well, let's see if we can see the number 98 off.
He probably pulled in. There's a gap behind the wall there so that you wouldn't ruin the race.
Good point.
And Ernie's a pure racer, so I'm sure he pulled off so that this thing could stay green.
Well,
you could already see that Chris got the call on the radio because Chris backed off.
Yeah.
Like he was early on the brakes, not pushing the issue with David Paterick. The only person that could be a threat to Chris right now is Friendly Fire, right? It's Andy Lally.
Yeah. And he won't do that.
No, he won't. And he knows what his job is here to do, and that his job is
there it is.
Oh, poor Ernie. Oh, I hate that for the Breathless group. They work so hard, come all the way from Florida, and that's not how they went in their day.
No, and they worked so hard. They got the pole position, and
but
you got to feel for Ernie.
Adam is right. Adam's been kind of saying, watching Ernie probably 5 times through the broadcast, stay off the curbs, Ernie, stay out of that puddle. And I think he hit the curb right there, coming down to the main straight, out down the hill, and looked like he lost his tire pretty quickly.
Yeah, or it might have been even a suspension failure from grabbing a little bit too much curb, and because he got on the curb there at on the uphill too to get around Chris. So I don't know if that would have stressed something that eventually the next time he got to the curb on the downhill, it actually, no matter what happened, we can all speculate up here. It's just a shame that he's out of the race.
Yeah, he's had some bad luck as poor old Ernie.
I got to give it up for Ernie, though, because I'm hearing on race control that unless they go full course caution, he's in a safe place. So he's not ruining anybody's race. You know, he's always such a gentleman racer, Ernie Francis Jr.
Yeah,
We're going to see him with SRX and FR, but 7-time Trans Am champion, and now Chris Dyson, who's been so close at his home track. Now it's kind of Dyson's race to lose.
It really is, and I tell you, David Paterick, who he's trying to put a lap down, is running identical lap times almost to him as we ride on board with David right now. David's doing a fantastic job here, but I'm sure David hopefully is getting a call on the radio. Leader's behind you. Right now, David's not in a race. The good move right now would be just to let Chris by. And, and Chris could probably go a little bit faster, and as good as Dave is driving, tuck right behind Chris and make this happen.
I've heard this said before. For racing drivers, it's almost harder to drive slow.
It is.
In other words, once you're in your rhythm and you're doing 59s, you don't want to be doing 104s.
No, it actually, you're right. Your rhythm. The rhythm is everything. And I know that my Uncle Mario, he had a failure in the Indy 500 because he was pedaling the engine to save it, so he thought, but it ended up taking the engine out of the harmonics, and that's what broke the valve spring. So, there's I think the racing gods punish us for pedaling. So
there you go.
So yeah, I would like to see David, give leeway to Chris here and let Chris have the racetrack being the leader.
Well, this is a real homecoming Memorial Weekend for Chris Dyson. He came here as a little boy with the massive crowds that. Well, we got a good one this weekend, but sadly the rain has obviously played a part. But Chris literally grew up here.
This is a way bigger crowd than we should have for these conditions. So we got to give it up for these. These are some troopers out here that are just excited to be back out at racing.
Yeah, stoked to have these fans here. Best fans, love the fans up in New England, and got friends and family coming in from all over. And I know this would be such a special day for Chris if he could pull this off here.
I tell you what's interesting. We're on board with Tommy Dreesen. We're watching him in the Lucas Slick Smith number 8. And he started the weekend third in the championship and only, 6 points off Ernie Francis Jr. So that could change the complexion of his championship drastically at the end of this race.
That's going to be a big swing for him for sure.
And Tommy Dreesen did make the promise that if he wins this race, he'll be camping in a pop-up tent up on the hill with all the campers. So let's see what happens. And if you know Tommy Dreesen, he's not really a tent camper.
Well, I don't know if Adam plays guitar, but I know Tommy can sing, so we'll probably see them guy at the campfire next week.
I want to be the one that picks out his tent.
There you go.
We got to get him like a World War II military, just 2 strings and a tree.
Exactly. Yep. He's going. It's Memorial Day weekend. You're going to go like they did.
Yeah.
No, it's Tommy here. It's a good thing Tommy's windshield is staying clear. I noticed he's got some windshield wiper issue. It seems to be a Burton Racing design, the way that the wipers are on there, because both of them, see right here?
Yeah, one's come off,
and then also, if you look at Simon's is off too.
And that's Terry St. Martin. He was in there engineering everything. And I said, Terry, what, you think this is going to work? And he looks at me, rolls his eyes, and he goes, we'll see.
But it's working. Yeah. They don't need the wipers. Everything is working, so that's a good thing.
The gap between Chris Dyson and Lally after Dyson was held up there is now down to 4.5 seconds. So, but given that they're teammates, that shouldn't be something to worry about. And Lally consistently now in the 59s. Dreesen now to third.
It's not actively raining, so right now the track is actively drying.
Looks like Paterick. Oh no! I was hoping David would actually let Chris through there.
Yeah, Paterick needs to get out of the way. I think Chris Dyson's going to get frustrated, and a frustrated Dyson can make mistakes. And I don't mean to say that that's his background. I just know that's any racing driver's.
He's fighting to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah.
So it's.
Oh, I totally get it. I understand where David's coming from, but I would see him racing the leaders harder if he had his own race. But David doesn't have his own race going on right now, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't. He's not in a fight of his own.
He's doing a hell of a job.
Doing a great job. Absolutely. No, he's driving. I mean, look, this is the leader of the race that has dominated the race, Chris Dyson, and he should. And for all intents and purposes, you're coming around to lap him. You should fly by him. But David is holding his own, and that's why I'm not being hard on David here. I'm just saying that as a leader of the race, you want that clear racetrack so bad, and you're begging.
This could be a chance.
I think this could be the chance. Yeah.
And he's going to try around the long way, and Paterick's not having it.
No.
Into Big Bend they go.
I think who has the toughest job out there today is Philip DePippo in that beautiful green Mustang right there. The only GT car out there really doing a great job of just staying out of everybody's way and keeping himself visible.
It's hard with these visibility issues on a tight little track like this, and when you're in a slower class, that's always the hardest battle. It's not necessarily racing what's in front of you, but racing what's behind you. And I agreed with you there 100%, Ben, is he's doing a great job, Philip is.
Ooh. So the weather starting to improve here at Lime Rock. Memorial weekend racing as always at Lime Rock, and delighted to be here, rain or shine. The crowds are here. They can get free vaccinations if they so choose, and we encourage them to do so.
But this has given Lally a chance to really gain on Chris Dyson there in second place. And
absolutely.
If they don't get past David Penterick here soon, they're going to be
when Dyson turned into Big Ben there, it laid rubber. So we're going to start seeing rain tires wear. We're going to start seeing a dry line come up. Strategies are going to come into play, and this is going to get good. Everyone's running almost identical lap times too right now. If we got a restart for some reason, if we got a caution and needed a restart, it would be pretty spectacular. That's what I would be making the deal right now if I was Chris Dyson's team. I'd be going down to Penterick saying, let us by, and if we get a caution, I'll let you back by to get your lap back.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, that's a good negotiation.
I don't want to give this kind of lead back to Paul Fix and Tommy Dreese if I'm in Dyson's position right now.
No. And racing this close in these conditions, anything can happen.
Absolutely.
I mean, he hasn't raced David in a while, I'm sure.
Absolutely not. And you know, it's this is a lot more battle than what you hope for when you're in the lead. You know, you're looking to just try and get through and dispose. But I know Chris too. He's point racing at the same time, right? His nearest competitor is not Andy Lally, in my opinion. His nearest competitor is going to be Tommy Dreese, and Tommy Dreese's still 11 seconds back.
But this is really highlighting how hard it is to pass here. If you've got equally yoked cars, even if your car is a little bit faster, the straightaway is not quite long enough for you to get by them. You have to really be strategic in where you can pass cleanly.
Oh, absolutely. I ran a TA2 race here back in, I think it was 2016. We were stuck in third gear, and I still managed sixth place because I was able to block my way through, or not block, but make the car wide enough to, because you run out of gear right about where they're at. And so
Did you hear Adam Andretti just censor himself? He says, "Not block." I wasn't blocking. We all know you were blocking.
Well,
Once an Andretti, always an Andretti.
Yeah. I love it.
We just make it wide.
Yes.
Racing's racing, right?
Racing is racing.
It doesn't matter how you do it.
Yeah, it's all fair.
You're listening to Adam Andretti and Ben Sissel. I'm Jonathan Green. We're having a delightful weekend here, despite the rain here at Lime Rock. And it has dissipated and gone for now.
It really has. The track is coming to them, and we're still pretty wet pavement to the touch, but it's not standing water. Like, they're not pulling. You don't see the spray. See, didn't see any spray until Dyson went offline there a little bit to take a poke at David.
I wonder if Dyson will try a Sebring trick, which is come in and come and change tires and go back out again.
That's awfully risky from the lead, right?
No kidding.
That would be a risky spot.
Here comes Dyson, now he has chance, down the San Posi straight. He's got the inside line, he lets off the brakes as late as he dare. And look at Penterick, he will not give this up.
No, he won't.
Power to him. Dyson might be frustrated, but he's probably enjoying the battle at least. But he wishes it was for the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you love the battle. This is why we race. But you don't want to battle in this way, right? This isn't the battle you were looking for.
That poor fella's waving his flags, but it's not to help. And look at Lally, right there now.
Yeah, Andy's there again. I feel like that'll be friendly fire. I don't think Andy's going to sit there. And I know Andy's a warrior. I'm not taking anything away from Andy's, but he also knows the position that he's here. He's probably going to be his only Trans Am race of the year because Hamad will come back. So this might be his only Trans Am race of the year, and he's there to help Chris with points.
And to be fair, I mentioned that Lally was racing in the Xfinity Championship at Coda last weekend, and you should see the blister on his foot from last weekend. So I know that's going to be painful by the end of this race.
Oh, the poor guy's got to be just in excruciating pain from that. He can barely walk. When I saw him earlier in the paddock, early on yesterday, he could barely walk, out there, and but he's a professional. He's a star in this sport, and he is that for a reason.
Okay, let me put it this way. If you are Chris Dyson now, Adam, where is the safest way to get past Petarek without any fuss?
It's definitely right here.
Right
there. That's how.
Petarek finally gets
Thank you. David saw the light. I think he heard you, Jonathan.
I think he must have done.
The commentator's curse is also the commentator's message.
There you go.
And you sent a great one there, because now we can get these two leaders down to racing.
Yep, and Lally's gone with him, so we've got a 1-2 now for Chris Dyson's team as they lead this TA race.
That was a great move by Petarek, and really appreciate that racecraft for him to let the leaders by there and let this race go on.
I got to give it up for Humaid Masood, too. Thank you, if you're watching, for just giving this great entertainment, letting him drive, letting Andy Lally into your Amamos La Vida Tequila Ford Mustang. And now here it is, running second place at Lime Rock Park with Lime Rock royalty, the Dyson family, Chris Dyson in that Greg Pickett Altwell Ford Mustang. Good stuff.
Yeah, and by the way, Masood's been driving really well this year. He's been on the podium himself. It's only the business reasons that he's not here this weekend.
Absolutely. He has been doing a fantastic job, and I think there's going to be tequila going all the way around to try and kill that heel pain that Andy's got going on after this race from those burns last week. But yeah, it's a fantastic opportunity, and you're right, Ben. We really appreciate him putting someone like that in the car.
And we hate for any of our drivers to be injured, but at least this time Andy Lally, a race car driver, injured himself racing a car, and not skateboarding, not MMA fighting, and all the other things that he does, putting his body at risk. But,
he's a luge racer, I heard.
Yeah, he does a little bit of everything, and I'm sure that all of his teams are like, just please stay off the skateboard before these big races.
I think if you dove into and really dissected a lot of race drivers, you'd find that like some of us are really secretive because we don't want the teams we drive for to find out the risk we take in our private lives, but
this is coming from a motocross racer that we're hearing this from right now.
So, well, you got to do things to keep yourself in shape, and but yeah, it's
Eric Joyner just passing Justin Oakes there. Eric Joyner just doing his fastest lap last time out at 58.898 in XGT.
Yep.
I really looked at him like I honestly thought Eric in these conditions with that car was going to mix it up more for an overall fight after what we saw out of him in Laguna and the dry, and how that GT3 car is really able to...
Talking to him at grid, being late to grid, he was going to start 5th. I think that kind of changed his strategy. He first just wanted to get through safely. He told me at a race back that he just really wants that car to be pulled into the trailer in one piece after each race. That's his first goal. And he's the only XGT car here, unfortunately, this weekend, so he's kind of in his own race.
Yeah, he is, and there's some
getting out of the way of the leader.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to take unnecessary chances when you're just out there for yourself.
But I've been seeing big lines at his paddock, giving away that good boy Bob coffee to the whole paddock this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
So
well, actually, Laguna, awesome stuff.
I would love to, I openly invite all these GT3 cars that are out there, that are not factory, tied to a factory, that have to run in a series. If you have a GT3 car, get out here to Trans Am. Run your XGT, because it's just starving for the competition, and you would love to get an extra lap time. I know you would.
Well, that car that he's in is a former Patrick Long 2016 GT3 car.
Yeah.
So that's full fact. That is an immaculate car.
It's a beautiful car, and I know there's cars out there just sitting there waiting to be driven. So, get them out here to a Trans Am weekend and bring them back to life, because this is a great place to be racing.
Tommy Dreesy, 3rd place now, and he's kind of catching up. So that
running.
Long pause behind David Petarek is really giving Tommy Dreesy and Paul Fix a chance to try to catch up to these leaders. Oh, we're listening to them.
He's 2 seconds a lap faster than the 2 leaders. So this traffic isn't going to help him. He's looking pretty impatient. But yeah, he's finding the grip, and he's going for it.
All right, boys, here's a question for you. 21 minutes to go. Will these rain tires last in this drying line?
I tell you, there's 25 laps to go around this place, so it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight.
Yeah, 25 laps is a normal race for a lot of people.
Right, it is.
Look at this SGT battle, though. They were all on that back straight together.
Yeah, they were all going down no name straight together. Here's Tommy getting underneath that lap vehicle. Let's see where the gap is this time. It was 7 seconds, so they opened it up being in traffic. They open up by about a second and a half, but Tommy's doing a great job there in the Lucas Oil Slick Mist Chevrolet Camaro there for Burton Racing. Doing a great job, as always. He's just there at the end, right? That's Tommy, you know, he's right there at the end, ready to fight.
So, as the engineers and the spotters watch on, everybody swapping notes and making sure all is well. What we've got is a situation where we started on wet weather tires because it was wet, but now it's dried up quite quickly, in fact, in the last half hour. We've got 20 minutes to go. They're on wet weather tires. Dyson's got a huge lead. He's got his teammate in backup with him, Andy Lally, that is. Tommy Dreese is third at the moment, but quite some way off the first two, and Paul Fix is behind him.
Just got word from race control. Unfortunately, we were talking about Philip DePippo in that GT car, the green GT car. He's having to retire due to bad vibration in that Safsco Sports Ford Mustang, so that's unfortunate for Philip DePippo, but he will get the points because he finished half the race.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's very good. Yeah, that's a shame. You hate to see those windshield wipers weren't even on the windshield there for Kent Waits. They were floating off the windshield as going down the straightaway. It's tricky in these race cars to try and get a windshield wiper to stay pinned at over 150 miles an hour. So, you know, nothing to the team there. But Kent Waits there doing a great job in the Franklin Road apparel.
Our current XGT champion. He won in the Audi R8 LMS, and if you wanted to take on Eric Joyner, I think he's still got that car. He says, trying to hire it out for him.
Oh, you know, and he's sitting there doing 59.3, so he's a little bit quicker than David Paterick right now. I think he's a little bit far back on the gap, but he's doing a good job there, holding his own. Probably he's going to be really happy with this run.
Had a podium finish in TA at Laguna Seca just a couple of weeks ago, and doing really well in TA cars.
Yes, he is, and he was really a little bit nervous about him first getting in him, but he's taken to him quite nice, and he's taken the instruction from Boris very seriously. And Simon Gregg right there, and Paul Fix, I think, is coming around to do
his
put a lap down. Yeah, look at those windshield wipers. They don't know what they want to do.
And just behind him is the
Berkeley.
67.
That's the local man we were talking about that was the champion in Trans Am in 2014. Back with us, so welcome back to the series, Jason Berkeley. And Paul Fix's wipers are really looking like they don't work.
Suspect.
And if you look, he had like HVAC duct tape all the way around his windshield because it's just so important to keep these cars sealed.
Definite drying line starting to build here at Lime Rock Park as Dyson leads from Lally. Dreese fixes fourth, Paterick fifth. In XGT, Joyner doing a really good job. But then there's a good battle in SG2 between Phillips, Oaks, and Berkeley, who we just saw a moment ago. DePippo, you just heard, pulling out with that vibration, but he'll get the points.
I'm seeing also an absolute dry line forming into West Bend and on the downhill. So those tend to be the two places that dry out first here at Lime Rock. So it's definitely getting, the track conditions are better each lap, and you're seeing that out of our leaders. They're running 57s now. Tommy Dreese's in the 57s. So this is a great progression. Almost everyone's turning their fastest laps of the race, lap by lap. So that shows a great projection of track grip and the way that the evolution of the track is coming.
I spoke to one of the great officials in Pirelli as everybody was bringing their tires and traded for rain tires. And I said, how long can these tires last, the Pirelli Reigns, under dry conditions? And his answer was, I hope we never find out. So we're going to see as it's getting close to what I would consider to have a dry line on the track in full rains.
It is, and 20 laps left is a lot to go yet. And everyone, I'm so impressed. Look at those wipers. I'm so impressed with the job that everyone's doing. You know, we haven't had any cautions. Like you said, Ernie, when he had a problem, he peeled off to where this thing could go green. So just really impressed at the level of driving here in the Trans Am Series and in these classes.
I would have thought those wipers would be distracting. They're just not really going at any particular speed, are they?
Yeah, you know, you're not really seeing anything. You can see like the people that had problems, like Simon doesn't even have his wipers on anymore.
I don't think you need them.
Neither does Paul Fix. I think you're at the point now that you don't need them, right? But it still takes you having to click a switch over there to do it, and that takes some focus and concentration away. So around this little bull ring, I don't blame Ken Twaits for not playing with the toggle switch at all, just making sure that, see how it's dry right there as he gets into West Bend?
Yeah, I can see that, yeah. So things are drying up in this beautiful little area of northwest Connecticut. 2 hours from New York, 2 hours from Boston. That's why it became the perfect venue for those in and on the East Coast. In fact, a lot of Canadians have come over here in the past as well and raced here at Lime Rock. And over the years since, big off, and we caught it. That's how wet it is off track. And sadly, Ken Thwaites.
This will be our full course. This will be our
There's
full
your
course.
caution.
And,
Yeah. Now, do you whip in and get some dries on that?
I don't know. I mean, after what I just saw there, probably not, because you would have to be absolute inch perfect, or this is your result. So
that was a shame, because it looked almost as though there might have been something mechanical there, because he just didn't. He went straight on.
And his wipers, like Adam pointed out a couple laps ago, his wipers were not connected to the windshield. They were hovering the windshield. He might have had some visibility issues, or just
missed the point, like Lolly did. You know, it can happen to the best of them. You know, might have been something along those lines. But
and you saw how heavy those tires were, full of water like that. That was a tough hit.
Yeah, and look how much water was off track as well.
Yeah, and that's the problem when it's wet like this. You know, he had no chance of not hitting the barrier.
No,
you hit that and it's like ice, and you can't steer away from it. You can't throttle away from it. All you can do is be a passenger and slide into the tires. And luckily he hit bluntly with the side, and I'm pretty confident that he's okay inside that car, and the car will be fine too. And it just gives a little more work for our buddy Gary Seelick to get to work on. That's all.
And I was talking to Gary earlier, and Gary's a good friend. Gary's dad, Charlie Seelick's legendary. Well, let's watch the replay.
Here we go.
Yeah, he's down there on the brakes. Yeah, I'm with you. It's like he had no brakes. Like all of a sudden, they did lock when he got to the but it's almost like he had a mechanical. I agree with you, Jonathan, to your point. That did not look like he was a passenger.
Didn't
for
look
almost
normal,
all
did
that.
it?
No, it did not.
And we know Ken, current champion of XGT, so you know he's not the kind of guy that makes mistakes either.
No, he's a great guy, and he's definitely a polished driver in the sense that he doesn't go out there and overdrive himself. So that was not just him saying woohoo, you know, hey y'all, watch this. You know, he definitely had. I think he had something, you know, go on. And again, you're in these conditions. Ralph and I were talking about it earlier, that how much practice do we honestly want to do, because you waterlog everything.
Yeah.
You know, so who knows what got waterlogged on them. You know, it could have been something along those lines. It just, you never know what these elements will bring you.
Well, the leaders believe that now, with the tires cooling down a little and now a slower laps obviously under caution, that there is no need to come in and change anything or change tires, and I think that's the right decision. 12 minutes, you'd make it work, right?
Absolutely. You got 17 laps to go, and who knows how many of these are going to be under caution. It's going to take a while to get Ken out of that barrier because of how sloppy it is down there. Just the tow trucks alone could get stuck. So
good point.
Yeah, I think it might take a minute.
Like
to get
we
him out.
saw in Monaco, you never know what happens when you just change a simple tire, and so nobody wants to give that away. And we were talking about Gary Seelick's, Ken Thwaites' chief. His dad, Charlie Seelick, was legendary crew chief.
Absolutely.
Wally Dallenbach, Willie T,
Charlie's a
Greg
legend.
Pickett. And the cool thing is Gary says he's got all of his dad's notebooks, and these cars are pretty similar to the cars back then. And he says he can hear his dad's voice sometimes as he's setting up the cars, like one more turn, or when they went to Laguna Seca with Lawrence Loshak a couple years ago, he looked at his dad's notes to set up the car. So it's kind of neat to have this kind of history here. But
he's teasing, I think. I think he's teasing.
Well,
yeah, he's
okay.
teasing.
That was scary for a second. I thought Dyson was ducking in.
I know the games, and Chris is a brilliant human being.
Isn't teasing, he's in.
Justin Oaks might be the first one to come in looking for something.
That's interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they make of that.
I heard from race control that the driver, Ken Thwaites, is okay, and he thinks once he gets pulled off the wall, he could return under his own power.
I think, I would agree. Like, it didn't look like he hit to where it was blunt side force. So those are usually pretty good on the race car, honestly. They're you might put a little energy through the rear end of it. See how the front brakes are smoking really bad? It might just be from the water hitting it, but I
just saw him get under his own power, though. You'd think they'd tow him up to at least the asphalt.
It might be truck. It might have got stuck too.
Anyway, he's back out on track after a big incident. Our only caution of the day so far. You're watching TA, XGT, SGT, and GT. You're listening to Adam Andretti, Ben Sissel, and myself, Jonathan Green, as we bring you the last 10 minutes of this TA race, our feature race of the Saturday
of the SVRA and Trans Am Speed Tour. Round 4 for Trans Am, and it's been a bumper season already. We've had some great racing from Sebring to Road Atlanta, and of course Laguna Seca last time out and here at Lime Rock. Really looking forward to how this season pans out. I'm based in Austin, and of course that's pretty much where it's all going to come down to the last hurrah.
That's going to be exciting. Yeah, Coda's always a great place to go race, and it puts out a good show. And then we're going to be in your backyard, so there's always that, Jonathan. That's always
Do I have to do barbecue then?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
100%. We're expecting it.
Fair enough.
So
yeah, are you going to race in my city of Nashville here in August?
We're working on
the
it.
Music
Ben.
City Ground.
I
know you love street races.
I am working so hard to get that deal done, and working really hard to hopefully make that happen. I would love to be down there. My Uncle Mario was down there a week or two ago to promote it with Sheryl Crow, and it would just mean a lot to me to go down there and perform. You know, we won Detroit.
What was Sheryl Crow?
Well, I can't sing. No one wants to hear me sing.
No,
that's
okay.
for sure. But no, it'd be great to be, you know, with Mario's involvement, with IndyCar being there. It's always a good scene for me because I know when I went to Detroit, it was really special to walk by Andretti Autosport Hospitality and everyone making a big deal out of what we did. So there's Ken in the pits there, Gary, and
bit of damage to that left front, but not too bad.
But he did a good job of making it as soft as he could, glancing blow.
Well, they don't seem to think that there is something wrong specifically with the car because they're looking to send it out again, and they are.
Ken's going for points.
Yep. So I don't know what happened there.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're missing out. And someday we're going to have the technology, but that car fired up right in front of us and shook the tower.
It did actually, yeah.
That felt great.
It did, didn't it?
I love it. And that's why we have so many fans here and the campers, because you feel these cars as they go around.
Yeah, if you weren't awake this morning when they went out this morning, you were as soon as they were.
Lights out on the pace car.
All right, so we're going to go racing again, but I have to say, I don't think, unless Tommy Dreesy tries Tommy Dreesy.
Well, remember, these guys' lap times were right on top of each other before. The only thing that was stopping bigger racing was the gap.
What's Kerry Hitt going to do here?
He's going to get out of the way.
He's going to get out.
He's a pro.
Okay,
Kerry's
here we
out
go.
of the way. I can
so
promise
Dreesy's
you.
the only man who could change this race now because Andy Lally is following Dyson home. They come down the Samposi straight. Winner in 69, Samposi.
And
now
I saw Sam
Dyson.
here this weekend. It was great to see him.
Yeah.
Dyson got a good jump. Andy's doing his job, keeping Dreesy right there and honest and behind. But this is gonna be a war all the way up to the end. This last 8 minutes is gonna be a good one.
This is going to be a lot of fun. So we're on board with Tommy Dreesy. He won't miss a thing. He's in second gear as he comes through Big Bend. The track is now dry. They're on wet weather tyres, but they've only got 8 minutes of racing to go. So it should be even Stevens.
Yeah,
already, Dyson building that lead. Lally defending for him. Dreesy right there.
You could even see Lally's car placement was to help confuse Dreesy, right? To put Dreesy's car placement in another place, and that just shows the brilliance of an Andy Lally. Is he knows what he has to do to keep that car behind him and to keep that battle just between.
Look at Dreesy's wiper. It's wrapped around to his side mirror. You see that?
Yeah.
Oh, Joyner's gone off. So too Paterick.
Paterick, yeah. Now that's going to make uphill muddy, and let me tell you, the uphill does not need any help being dangerous.
Yeah, and that is very muddy. And Joyner's going the wrong way on the racetrack, but he's
going to
now
take the
got off.
chicane up.
Yeah. So that's good, smart move by him. He's off track there. I know that looks as though he's on track, but that's basically a different course, and he's just basically got to the asphalt so he doesn't get stuck
just a
in the grass.
Yellow, though.
Local yellow for now. Dreesy all over the back of Lally.
Now, these leaders are coming up to it. They'll be the first ones to it, so let's see. I mean, I hope they're taking the slippery flag serious.
Yeah, no kidding. So we're about to find out. There's the dirt and mud, but luckily all of them have got through. Yeah. Here comes Dreesy. He's trying to pressure Lally now into a mistake, but not a driver at 46 who makes many, and he's got the record of class wins at Daytona, Andy Lally.
Yeah.
Dreesy, though, wipers flapping in the wind.
What a run
6
down
minutes.
the downhill, though. Tommy had a run down the downhill.
And there's nothing Lally can do.
No. Andy was a sitting duck there. Just got a better run.
Oh, I say that, and Lally's coming back at him. As they go round Big Ben, it's a big fight. Tommy's got the better of him, and now Lally's going to have to build again. Now Lally wants second. Now we've got a race. Adam, take it over. Where does Lally now put the pressure on Dreesy?
Well, you know, right now Dreesy was faster, so Lally's got to pick up where he was faster. What I saw, he was quicker than him down the downhill. That's where he got the run. So I think Andy's brilliant, right? As I've said many times before in the broadcast, but that's all that dirt and stuff that Joyner brought on. But I mean, Tommy just looks fast. I'm just telling you. I don't know if there's anything Andy can do because Tommy is just hooked up. That Burton Racing car is hooked up.
Yeah. Andrisi's importantly in second place, and this is where the championship fight is on, because Ernie Francis Jr., if you've just joined us, is out of this race on the first lap as Oates is out of the car, and sadly no finish for him. But we saw Eric Joyner go in and out, so the XGT man is still going, but Justin, sadly, in that DroneWorks Chevrolet Corvette is out.
He doesn't look too pleased either. Like something more than just mechanical happened. Like there was a different issue, but
yeah.
I love having him in the series, though. He's always such a positive person, really good driver, beautiful car. He joined us at COTA last year and has now been with us at every race. Just had a new baby also.
Oh, cool. That's great. Now, the DroneWorks car is a beautiful-looking livery, and yeah, I haven't got a chance to know the person, but watching him drive, his performances, it's exciting to have him here in the Trans Am paddock.
So, clock ticking down as we're back on board with Eric Joyner, who's rejoined, having gone into the pits, having spun round and thrown a little dirt out there, but he's going to go on now and take the XGT victory if he holds it all together in the next 4 minutes, but he should do in that beautifully prepared Porsche 991.
His goal was at risk, though. He didn't want to. He wanted to be able to roll that thing on the trailer, and it really got risky there for him.
Yeah, for a moment, yeah.
That is a beautiful car.
Oh, it truly is. Those are masterpieces for sure. I mean, Porsche does a job like no other, right? I mean,
no kidding.
They produce a product like nobody else.
It's just been the most successful build of car in sports car racing.
Exactly.
Forever, quite literally. 9th overall, and as you can see, nobody in his sights.
Just got word from race control that the 1-1 of Justin Oates retired electrical, so that waterlogging you were talking about.
Okay, fair enough.
That might have been it.
Yep, and they'll rear their ugly head around caution time too. Like if he would have been flat out for the race all the way to the end, probably wouldn't have had a problem until they went to go start it up at the next event. And they'd be like, oh no, now what? No, so so honestly, it might be a blessing in disguise that it happened for them, that they can, that they don't have a hidden gremlin that chases them to the next one.
Well, Chris Dyson is chasing the checkered flag. He just did his fastest lap at 56.8. And I know it's getting better in terms of conditions, but in this point in the race, that is Dyson at his very, very best.
I just heard 5 laps to go from race control.
Okay, which sounds a lot, but it isn't much.
No,
it's less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, the full race would have been 9 to go, so they almost got the full lap count in, which is incredible with these conditions.
Yeah, very true. As we watch the 97 going about his job.
Yeah, now they're turning 54s. I mean, this track is just getting better and better.
So the track is drying out. The cars are getting lighter because of fuel load. Does that make it more dangerous to race on these rain tires? Like, you can see the dry line right here.
No, actually, no. The fuel load only helps. The lighter the car, the better. The more nimble you are, the more predictable it is. You don't have any slosh or anything along those lines. Although with the foam inserts, you don't get slosh. But, the point is that you don't have the weight in the back of the car, the pendulum effect, if you will. So, no, it's a great question, Ben, but the car does become just much more predictable. That's why you see lap times come down. Not only the weight, but just the absolute balance of the car.
The man we're watching is Michael Phillips in the number 97. He's leading SGT and will win in SGT, as this man will, just behind him, XGT 2. So we're seeing 2 of the big winners. Philip DePipo has already effectively won in GT because he pulled out, but he'd done enough laps. And there is your 1, 2, and 3. Lally may have one more go in the remaining laps at trying to stop Dreesy getting points, because now with Ernie out, Lally has to focus on Dreesy, because Dreesy now the biggest threat to Dyson's lead in the championship.
This traffic could play right into Dreesy's hands, though, too. Remember how difficult it is. You could be 10 seconds a lap faster than the car in front of you if they're not going to let you by, or if they're going to race you. It's going to be a challenge. So they're coming up on some traffic. Chris is in his zone, though. I've seen a fire in Chris's eye. I've known Chris a long time, and I've seen a fire in his eye that you just rarely see in a driver.
Look at Lally.
But talking to Chris, that fire is championship.
Oh, it is.
It's not about winning races.
It's all
he wants the championship this year.
But, winning races just makes it sweeter.
Yeah, or makes it easier.
Yeah, it's so much easier. And when you can just click that off, and not only that, the bonus points for him today, right? Leading the most laps. He's the only one that's led laps today. So he stole those points.
Watch Dreesy, because he's taking different lines to try to keep those tires cool right now. I saw him go offline on the main straight. Lally, on the other hand, is just hounding him now as they come through turn 3. Really nothing between them. But Dreesy under fire now and looking as though he's struggling to get grip out of those tires and keep them cool. Meanwhile, Dyson on his way home, just got traffic to deal with. Lally all over the back of Dreesy.
White flag.
If you're Tommy Dreesy, the last person you want behind you right now is Andy Lally.
No kidding.
Look at that. You're right, Jonathan.
Yeah, he's taking the lines that gives him a little bit more patches of wet, and Lally surely will pounce. He did it down the main straight. We'll see if he does it again.
Here's a white flag. White flag's out for our leader.
Yep. One more lap to go here at Lime Rock.
And Andy again, he wants to take these points from Tommy. Tommy's not far behind Chris in points, so a P3 swing is something that Andy wants to deliver to his buddy, Chris Dyson.
Great racing here between them. Fantastic racing. Tommy Dreesy now under pressure. He gets past Michael Phillips as they head down. This is the last lap, the final lap here at Lime Rock for the TA feature race on Saturday. Dreesy under massive pressure from Andy Lally, who came in, of course, for Hamid Massoud at the last minute. But Lally was just happened to be in New York and as good friends and has been for 20 years with the Dyson team, and said, sure, I'll jump in. I'll help you out if I can. Here he comes. Here's the run. Side by side with traffic as well. Dyson's going to win this race, but look at Lally. Lally's going for second. They're side by side under the bridge. Dreesy's got the better line and will try to hold him to the line. Dyson does it in the downpour at Lime Rock and wins at home. And Dreesy holds on for dear life to hold off Andy Lally and does so to take second. That opens up the championship with Ernie Francis Jr. not finishing. Andy Lally does as best as he could do under the circumstances, but that was a great drive both by Dyson and, I would say, by Tommy Dreesy.
What a drive. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, Tommy is points racing out there as well. He told me that before he went out. He just wants to collect the points, and he did a great job of that. And Chris just handed it to him. He had almost a perfect weekend. Other than the 1 point he didn't get for having the pole, he got every single point that you could grab this weekend. And by doing that, he's going to take a nice little lead of this championship for his efforts.
Adam, I've been around Trans Am for 5 years now, and when I arrived, Tommy Dreesy was known sometimes for his Larry driving, sometimes to be inconsistent, but all I've seen is him get better and better and better, and it started at Brainerd a couple of years ago.
His improvements have been staggering. I couldn't agree more, and I know that those Burton race cars are driving really, really well as well, and that helps too. You know, when you have a race car underneath you that you trust and that does what you're asking it to do, sometimes a lot of the erratic behavior you can find from a driver is not necessarily them as a driver. It's them trying to carry a car that isn't capable of going to where it's going. So,
good point.
So I think he's found a more capable car here, and boy, what a race by this group, and they put on a great show, and what a great show for us fans to watch.
And hats off to Dyson. This could be the beginning of his both championship lead, but as you say, championship quest now as we go on to road traces like Mid-Ohio, Road America, and so on, places where he's comfortable and he's won before.
This definitely makes up for the sour taste last time out that he has in from Laguna, so it was such a great flag to flag for him, and really happy for him and his whole group. Really fantastic.
I can see it now. The only thing that Dyson's thinking is, if Adam Andretti comes back, though, I'm in trouble. So
that is, you know, I hope to think everyone thinks that. You know, I mean, as a competitor, that's what you want everyone to think, is that when you show up, they're in trouble. So
that's it.
That's the ego that we all have.
Of course. Adam Andretti giving us great insight. He, of course, a TA driver himself. He may be doing TA2 if Doug Peterson, he tested the car out this morning in a practice session in the wet, but once again proves to be an invaluable commentator here for Trans Am. So I thank you again, Adam, for coming in.
Well,
thank you. Of course, Ben Sissel.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's always a treat to be up here with you guys. You and Ben are consummate professionals and do a fantastic job calling these races. I'm glad that I can add something for our fans from the driver's seat. It's always exciting for me, too.
Now, if you haven't got the 500 in your tent, you're very welcome to come over to our hotel and watch it, so, you know.
I think Peterson's got on in the
Okay,
truck.
good.
Yeah, no,
I didn't want you to miss it.
I'm not going to miss it, I promise you.
Okay,
and I won't miss MotoGP either.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Magello. Oh, Magello. Be still my heart with Magello.
No kidding.
I mean, you want to talk about a classic race weekend for motorsports. I know Monaco was a week ago. and that's classic. And then Indy 500 is tomorrow, and we've got the Trans Am weekend here, and you've got Charlotte for NASCAR and Mugello for MotoGP. I'm just saying that nobody has left anything unturned for us this weekend for motorsports fans.
And out of the cockpit comes Chris Dyson, the home hero, and this Lime Rock crowd know him well. New sponsor from Altwell as well this weekend, as well as Plaid. Yeah, brilliant run by Chris Dyson.
So happy for him. I mean, he was so excited. He told me yesterday, you want to see just a corral of people, come to my truck tomorrow before this race, because we're going to have the fan base there. And he's right. You know, all of family and friends locally coming here to see this man. So happy for him. I mean, he is such a pleasure of a man to be around. He truly is. He's a beacon for our sport and great for Trans Am.
Ben Sissel's down there. Let's head down and see if the man of the moment is ready to talk to us.
I'm so excited to be here with Chris Dyson. There seems to be some Chris Dyson magic here at Lime Rock Park. Look up the hill, all these fans for Chris Dyson. Dyson, another great show. Take the mic, tell us about your race.
Well, I'll tell you, Ben, this one means the world to me. What a day for the team. Brilliant. You know, it was challenging conditions out there. Lime Rock always puts an extra spring in my step, and coming here in these Trans Am cars, it's an unbelievable feat to drive around this place at these speeds. And with those kind of conditions against the level of drivers that are in this field, I couldn't be happier. I'm thrilled to put the Altwell car in victory lane again. Thanks, Greg. Support from everyone here just it means the world to me, actually. And I've been coming out here since I was a kid. And Memorial Day here, the family, honoring the people who lost their lives for this country. It's always been special, and to be part of this history here again, second year in a row. My boys did a great job. Andy Lally coming in to fill in for Hamed Masood. This was a great points day too. I'm just excited for the rest of the year now. I think we're hitting our stride.
Nice, I love it. You're making me get choked up because I know what this means to you. There's got to be something in this Altwell CBD, because since you've had this livery, you've really turned it up.
Yeah, man, I've just got to say it's a fantastic product. Please support our sponsors. Go to altwell.com, Altwell Race. You'll get your 25% promotion for the first orders. It helped save my life a little bit last year. I had a lot of inflammation, and during the stress of the lockdown, the pandemic, it really helped me. So I recommend it 100%, not just because it makes you faster.
Nice.